Hello and welcome to the Park Hyatt Aviara in Carlsbad, California, where we are having a very, very special CRTV live and just for you guys. So this is going to give you a glimpse into all of the things that we do, all of the news as we see it, and all of the videos as we make them, bringing them right here to you. And first up is none other than Larry Dignan with 5 top stories that you need to know.
I'm Larry Dignan from Constellation Insights, and here are your 5 stories for the week. Number 5, open models. Jensen's talking about them. Dario's talking about them. Dario actually loves them now, and you need to put them in your portfolio. Next story, number 4, United Health Group has 1,000 AI use cases. The big theme here is that they actually have discipline, and they're moving through each use case focused on processes, and it's actually working. Number 3, is SaaS back? SAP and ServiceNow had decent earnings. I think this is just the inverse of whatever the AI stocks are doing. So AI stocks go down, people start thinking SaaS has a little life, we'll see. Number 2, watch Verizon. They are turning their central offices, which are full of copper right now, and turning them to AI inference data centers. I think this might move us out of the meathead version of the AI infrastructure build out. And then number 1, Microsoft. They're reporting earnings. My hunch is that they're actually going to have discipline on CapEx and be nicely rewarded for it. And that's going to set a whole can of AI infrastructure whoop ass. And now, Esteban Kolsky, our chief distiller.
The Chinese say, may you live in interesting times. And man, are we living in interesting times. We're living right in the middle of a paradigm shift. If you're lucky, you get to experience this once in your career. And all of you are experiencing a paradigm shift in your career. Finally, after 2 years of trying, AI turned an inflection point. And this is where we are today. We are at the point where we move past the possibilities of AI into controlled execution of AI. Organizations more and more are trying to find a way to control how AI moves forward in the future. What I want to do over the next 3 minutes is give you a couple of things that you're going to use to do that. Number 1, the 7 words that matter when analyzing where we are in AI. First word, spend. This investment spend is finally diversifying for the economic reality that we live in. People are no longer afraid of spending money in AI or infrastructure. They're actually moving full speed ahead. We're going to see in the next 2 quarters a significant up in spend in AI, but not going to AI tools as much as it's going to go towards infrastructure. Data readiness and infrastructure readiness are 2 of the killer tenets of the next few months. Number 2, value. What is the business value that AI brings to the organization? It's not about more revenue or less cost or anything like that. It's about what's the long-term value. We're going to have AI with us for the next 20 years, and we need to build business and value models that reflect those 20 years. Number 3, authority. And authority is all about agentic AI. What is an agent empowered to do, and who's responsible for what the agent does? Number 4, architecture. This is where most of the spend is going to go in the next few years. Our infrastructure is not ready for AI, and we need to actually up it, and that's what we're going to spend the money on. Number 5, context. It took us 20 years to figure out content. It's going to take us 20 years or more to figure out context. And context is all that matters when you're actually going to be using AI. Number 6, security. Cybersecurity is taking so much money out of AI these days. Most of the money that we used to spend in things that were not related to security, they are going to security. One of the things that agentic AI showed us is how bad our cybersecurity infrastructure is and how we need to improve it. And the last one, which is the most important in my opinion, judgment. Talent for AI is abundant. You can go and find data scientists, you can go and find programmers, you can find people that understand AI. People with judgment that understand what to do when AI changes the business process in the organization, that's what we're lacking, and that's what we're going to spend the money on. So now the next part you're going to say is like, but how am I going to judge this? How are we going to measure this? Well, this is why I wrote the CEO AI Dashboard Series. There's 6 points that I want to bring to you that you're going to be measuring and the metrics that you're going to use for that. First one, talk about the business value of AI. The metric on that is going to be growth. Growth is the overlying paradigm for the next 6+ years. The second one is going to be data readiness, and this is about authority. We talk about who can do what and who's going to be responsible for that. The next one, infrastructure readiness, is about balance. It's about a hybrid growth network that is balanced between private and public according to the needs that you have. Number 4, governance. Governance is about control. It's about who has access to what. It's about deploying a private platform so you can actually control what you're going to be doing. Number 5, economics of AI. This is going to be very interesting because it's about a disciplined investment in 3 different buckets: innovation, today's value, and tomorrow's future value. And finally, the last one, talent, and I just told you about judgment. So with all this in mind, let's talk about the next quarter challenges. What are you going to be facing over the next 3 to 6 months in AI that you have to worry about? There's 4 challenges that are coming over the next 3 months. The first one, everything you do going forward, it has to be outcome driven. The economics are going to be justified by reaching the outcomes that you need to reach, not by whether you make money, not by whether you grow, but what is the specific outcome that you have targeted in your strategy for AI. The second one is about governed agents. Sorry, I missed my mind there. About governing the agents. It's about governance. It's about how you actually control agents. How do you deploy your private platform so you actually have control, total control over what you do and how you do it? Don't depend on vendors to do that. Don't depend on the platform from a vendor to manage how you manage your agents, depending on your own private platform. Number 3, the thing that you're going to be hearing the most about over the next few months, edge infrastructure. How do you actually do inference at the edge so you can actually save money when you get to execute it from public or private models? And finally, non-human security. Your agents need to have security applied to them. And it's not the same as if they were humans. These are the 4 things you're going to be worrying about the next 3 months, the next quarter. And this is what you're going to be working on over the next 10 years. And now I'm very pleased to introduce Wang with a view of the AMD event. Ray?
Hi, this is Wang with Constellation Research at the AMD Advancing AI 2026 event. This is AMD's flagship conference, and AMD Chair and CEO Dr. Lisa Su basically unveiled their company full stack hardware and even software ecosystems to boot. This is basically AMD's push to go out and get to the $2 trillion TAM by 2030. This is basically how to play open source versus NVIDIA in the world of agentic AI and really going after NVIDIA's data center dominance. Now, what does it mean? A set of amazing announcements. Major hardware and platform reveals were across the board. This is really about going from just making chips to getting to fully integrated rack scale computing architectures. This means Helios. This is the big solution, right? Now in full production, we're talking about 72 Instinct MI45X GPUs. These are tied with the 6th gen AMD EPYC Venice CPUs. And putting GPUs and CPUs together, you link them together with their UA link over Ethernet networking, and you're getting 2.9 exaflops of compute. And if you can't beat that, it's even better. They're getting 15% better performance with folks in massive models, and definitely if you're thinking about OpenAI, Anthropic, other LLMs, and they're getting better cost per dollar for their tokens. 30% more inference in tokens per dollar. AMD Instinct MI400 brand new GPUs are coming out. These are the next generation chips. This is getting the hyperscale AI training in place. And of course, we've got 6th gen AMD EPYC CPUs. These are codenamed Project Venice. And of course, these are the high density processors that power the infrastructure, back up the next gen AI clusters. And of course, we've got AMD Kria AI systems. These are systems on modules, think x86, and basically taking physical AI and robots. This is getting to the edge. It's going after NVIDIA's ARM-based processors, and that's the challenge that's out there. And of course, we can't finish this out without talking about Ryzen, which is their embedded X100. This is the real edge compute, bringing in all the localized real-time AI intelligence right onto the chip and system on chip. Now, this is also an amazing set of partnerships that were announced, and this is very interesting. From Anthropic to OpenAI, they talked about why they chose AMD from a cost perspective, a performance perspective. I mean, Anthropic talked about putting 2 gigawatts of AMD Instinct MI450 GPUs in place. partnerships with Azure, really talking about Helios deployments, Azure instances with Epic processors. And then Meta was on stage. I mean, you had the head of infrastructure at Meta talking about why they choose scalable AI cloud nodes. Cerebras is also using the Helios system. And to round it out, Cisco and AT&T talked about what they were doing with cloud control and really how to drive down the cost of tokens. So AT&T is using all this AMD hardware to get to air-gapped environments, which are really important in public sector, regulated environments, and to train these open telco models. Really what's going on, AMD is championing itself as a way to beat NVIDIA's CUDA. So it's really about figuring out how to match NVIDIA's software environment, build that software ecosystem. And so we saw a couple of things that were important. Coding assistant skills were big. We talked about ROCm releases accelerated that were happening on the ROCm open software framework, the ROCm AI unveiled, and the AI native developer experience that's going on. So
lots of new information, but I want to say a very, very special thank you to all of our partners who joined us today, because it is really through those partnerships that we're able to do the most amazing things together. So if I just leave you with a final thought, when I think about where AI is today, the biggest change that we see is we're no longer talking about what might be possible. We're actually seeing how AI can have real and significant impact across every industry and every part of our lives, our personal lives. And I have to say that I've spent my entire career in tech believing that high-performance computing can make the world an incredibly better place. And I have never, ever believed that more than I do today. At AMD, what we're focused on is building the technology, the roadmaps, and the partnerships. And there's never been a more exciting moment than today for our 30,000 plus engineers. This is really the next phase of AI. This is where we make AI, give the AI the opportunity with all the tools and all the capabilities to really bring meaningful real world impact. And I can tell you, I could not be more excited to build all of that together with you, our ecosystem. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It was quite a conference. I started the conference doing an expert session, literally listening to what was happening on the edge of what's happening in compute. More importantly, lots of physical AI demonstrations, watching all the AMD chips at the edge, and more importantly, a lot of great conversations, networking. Definitely well worth your time. This is the AMD Advancing AI Conference that was happening. It's their flagship conference, and of course, something to look forward to every summer.
I have been seeing a meaningful change in what buyers expect from technology. Features still matter, but so do security, trust, and whether developers will actually use the product. Across cybersecurity, AI-led software development, and technology services, 3 changes stand out. First, buyers are thinking about both security for AI and AI for security. They want to know how AI is protected and how AI can improve security. Second, buyers are looking beyond model selection. The model still matters, but adoption depends on complete AI systems around it, including security, reliability, integration, governance, and developer experience. And third, developers are becoming stronger voice in buying decisions. They influence which tools and platforms get adopted, and buyers want AI to help teams build better software, not just build it faster. My view is that AI security and software development are becoming one connected buying conversation. Over the next year, watch security and AI converge, models give way to complete AI systems, and developers gain more influence. Thank you so much.
Hey, it's Schneider here. Just wanted to talk really quickly about my research agenda and what I've been seeing. It's been a busy summer as growth leaders are looking to kind of move beyond AI hype and really get it into their go-to-market strategy. So I've just published recently a market overview on revenue intelligence and how that's been evolving. I've got some really great pulses on HubSpot and outreach and how they're bringing in revenue hubs and more revenue intelligence and orchestration. But what's coming up next, what's been really interesting, is lead to order agentic use cases that growth leaders need to know. In this new best practices report that'll be released in the next week or two, I'm talking about 5 really slam dunk AI use cases that growth leaders can put into practice to absolutely change the game when it comes to adding efficiency and effectiveness in core go-to-market practices. Talking about why these growth leaders should care about these 5, and I go over quite a few recommendations and best practices for getting started. Little hint, it's always about the data, and it's always about workflow, and it's always about alignment.
Hi, Mike Nee, Constellation Research. Look, everyone is talking about smarter AI. For 2027, I'm watching a different metric, decision velocity. And that's how quickly an enterprise can sense, decide, act, and learn with trust. And the market's already pricing in this shift in the data decision valuations. Decision infrastructure companies are growing 50 to 100% faster. They're commanding around 3x valuation multiples than a similar basket of transaction system vendors. And there are 3 shifts that explain why. The first is really decisions replace reports. Dashboards have always reported and described what happened. Decision products and services use AI to act on repeatable business decisions, whether it's like triage, whether it's pricing, routing, all helping AI move from insights into running operations. And that's actually enabled by the second shift, which is enterprise intelligence becomes composed and continuous. Real enterprise AI advantage comes from combining today's data metadata, semantics, with the context of the internal knowledge base of the company, composed together with live operational data and runtime governance. Together, these are creating the context-aware decision and learning loops that replace brittle decision trees. And this is where there's a tremendous amount of energy, and actually where we see enterprises getting real benefit from their AI initiatives, which gets to the third shift. The stack and the organizations that around them recombine. Data, analytics, AI, governance, integration, automation vendors are all converging, but with different combinations of the technology. That's leaving business leaders with a choice of where decisions run, what context travels with them, and what remains composable, and where that matters more than simplifying with a vendor consolidated suite. And of course, that leaves where human judgment is still required to deliver a precision decision. End of day, decision velocity is becoming the organizational principle as enterprises move from AI-enabled to decision-centric. And that's the market transition I'll be tracking in 2027 in the data to decision space.
Hello, everybody. It's Holger Mueller here. With my research agenda, I would like to have that sailing boat and get invited by Mike for a sailing trip here. And of course, I'm going to talk about enterprise acceleration. The gap between what technology can do and what business best practice are has been widened by the massive capabilities that AI is bringing out. And that will extend what I call infinite computing, which I've written and talked about, and I will have a new version of infinite computing, which goes beyond infinite connectivity, infinite insights, infinite compute, which we're doing right now. People building data centers like crazy, infinite machine learning. I didn't call it AI, shame on me, 8 years ago, and then infinite deep learning where AI looks over the shoulder. What's coming next is infinite software, meaning that software will be written by AI and software will no longer be a limited commodity. And it will mean infinite physical AI, or let me know if you want infinite robotics as the next one. Those two are the next extensions of that. What does it mean for people first in the company? Because enterprise acceleration means moving technology and moving the people forward. And that means for people that HR will be looking and are rewriting about what they do inside of their departments, what they do to make HR better. But then on the overall side, how is the future of work changing in the enterprise as the hand-to-machine automation ratio is changing enterprise like never before? And on the application development side or next generation applications, it's all going to be, how do I build the software? How do I build it? Empowering people, digital developers, digital citizen developers, over people, general developers, and how do I go to making software run by itself? And I have a special heart for the whole software development lifecycle from requirement all the way to the finished product. And next up, I'm having some scenes from Men on the Street from ARX Live.
Okay, I am here with Jay Moore.
Hi.
I got a quick question for you, Jay.
Okay, yeah.
Biggest thing you've seen change in AR just in the last year?
Oh, in the last year, I mean, obviously it has to be the adoption of AI so in services, we fill out almost 400 competitive evaluations a year. So when people talk about being in a magic quadrant or something and they go, we're at 11, I sympathize. But because we have so many evaluations in services, we're using AI to just try and sort of draft responses to all of them because it's an insanely unrewarding task. And so, it's just we're at the beginning stages of trying to figure it out and get it right, but anything is better than nothing, and we'll get better over time.
Love it.
Yeah.
What is the best piece of professional advice you've ever gotten?
Fantastic question. I don't think I've ever received professional advice.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you received bad advice?
I've received bad tactical advice where
Yeah.
my gut was like, I should do this. And I have had instances maybe a decade ago where I pressure checked something with someone and they were like, do it this way. And I did. And it was terrible. And I just remember thinking, I never would have phrased it. I never would have reached out. I never would have done whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think with AI, we will still have room to have that gut instinct to say, don't do that again?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because it's a tool, right? So we're just using it as we use any other tool. And so you still need people with experience and human emotion to check things. And maybe it'll be after I retire that the AIs will get that good, maybe. But I think you just need, at the end of the day, we're humans. That's why we're here connecting in person, right? Otherwise I would have sent an avatar. You guys would have been like, don't bring Jay, or I'd robot in or something. But we need that connection, and you're going to want people advice. Yeah.
Amazing.
Hey, I'm here with Abby Fisher from Qualtrics at the ARX experience of Constellation 2026. And we just came out of the morning break, right? What were the two things which excited you the most?
I like the point about expertise, not experience, not expertise is changing, because I think that's true, and we need a lot of trusted advisors to bring us through everything, because knowledge is kind of a commodity. So I really liked that. Well, the second one was probably being scared about the future of AI in a way, but just a realistic global take on where all of this is going to net out in the long run, and kind of some future-looking trends of what we should be thinking about and bring back to our company. From the product side, probably there's so much going on with the ecosystems of AI that people are building, and the fight for the context piece was really interesting for me and my company. So I think how do we fit in, and whether we're a part of the decision loop was definitely a big of our own or a part of somebody else's. So that was a big one that I'm going to definitely take away. And then from an AR standpoint, I would just say the broader macro trends as an industry and how that's all going to play out is something that we should also be thinking about in the analysts that we engage, and making sure we're getting a diverse set of opinions.
If you look in the crystal ball, what would you think would be happening in AR in 2-3 years, and will be just common like we today do internal websites, whatever, for people to find reports and so on?
In the future, there's probably going to be just a lot more access to information, I think. And so that's why I think the relationships that we build with the analysts who understand our unique business first is going to continue to be just as important, if not more, because anybody could look up information and that expertise of that knowledge. So I see the strategic advisory piece of analysts becoming even more important than it was a couple of years ago.
Last question, best thing so far?
Just the connections with all the people, and of course the analysts, making it so much fun for everybody.
Zoho Day 2026. It is always like drinking from a fire hose of amazing information. So thank you to Zoho for having us and having this whole motley crew in one place at one time. But we want to get to what the takeaways are. So I want to go around this horn. Each of you, give me what your top takeaway is, but we're also going to go fast. Esteban.
The biggest takeaway is the fact that Zoho continues to deliver and continues to build on the promise they made about 10 years ago to the customers.
Love it. Holger?
Yeah, similar like what Esteban said. It's like the widest suite of things beyond the traditional ERP part with productivity suite elements, and it's the vertical integration running on their own cloud, building their own database, as we just learned here today. So widest and deepest vertical and horizontal integration.
Chirag, go.
Key takeaway, amazing event. I spent time with the Manage Engine team, And Rajesh, the president, the CEO of Manage Engine, was here. And it's good to see Manage Engine working with Zoho together. So good to see the progress.
Awesome. Love it, Larry.
ERP's back, kids.
What? It went away?
It went away. It's back. And it's just fascinating to watch. I mean, we all worry about Anthropic blowing stuff up. I think Zoho is going to be the one blowing up margins all over SaaS.
Yeah.
Love it. Martin.
Just incredible work continuing to unify the platform, which is going to, again, data unification, App OS, bringing all the applications together on a single layer, having analytics on top of that, unlocking strategic value with AI. So really all about unification, simplicity to unlock strategic value.
Terrific. Mike.
We're going to come back to that same theme. I mean, I think Manu said it just right up front, which is this is about unification. And we talked a little bit yesterday about integration tax really being an AI tax as well. And the fact is that there's vertical and horizontal expansion that we're really seeing, right? Going not just from the applications down to the data to AI, but they're going to the hardware, they're going to the data center, right? All the way up and down the stack. And actually that is we're going to see more and more of that strategy, as well as alignment around this is going to fit. It's going to crush margins. It's going to bring these pieces together and simplify the solution for their market, which I think is part of their promise.
Okay, Ray, it was kind of the ERP show here, and it was, so we could just call it the Ray show. Do we want to call it Ray Days 2026?
No, but ERP's back, like Larry's saying. I think the main part is you can, make things run smoother. You can move money. You can manage risk. That's what companies are looking for, but at 1/10 the cost, at 1/100 the cost. We're looking at a different scale here because we're actually operating in an era where all our technology platforms are too expensive. And what they're doing right now is resetting the cost structure around the world. And that's the most important thing that we saw here is even in ERP.
Chirag, anything that jumped out as a surprise to you that you weren't maybe expecting to hear? Okay, other than ERP. So Chirag, anything that surprised you?
SaaS is not dead.
We didn't hear that at all this week, did we?
So,
That was kind of nice.
well, not a surprise, but surprise. No, not a surprise. But the surprise was the platform is real. App OS, which is, Roger called it delayering. So how do you take individual pieces of infrastructure and you layer them together so they can scale them independently for the workload that you choose? Now that workload could be AI, that workload could be CRM, that workload could be cybersecurity. The surprise was they unveiled a new piece of hardware.
I said one surprise, Chirag. You could steal his surprise. Esteban, what was your big surprise moment?
My big surprise is that Zoho, who spends so much time building up 49 different applications,
55.
doesn't care about the applications anymore.
Yeah.
They just care about the solutions.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. I like that.
And
Holger.
airport ads do work.
And airport ads do work. Holger, what was your big surprise?
I would say, breaking down the surprise list here, it's their transactional named value pair database. The other surprise is how well they're addressing their own technical debt that everybody has. They turned 30 here, so it's quite an age for any software vendor, and they're addressing that with different features in a way. So it's good to see.
Love it. Well, we did it. We took you from recording to live, in events to after events. We brought it all to you in 30 minutes, just like we do every other week on CRTV. So with my colleagues standing in front of you, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. And hey, we'll see you next time.